Hello, Libra, to another timeless love variant reading of yours, where we discuss however love may be present or absent in your life. Whatever brings you here, you may have caught a vibe and you want to see what it's all about. So, something may or may not resonate for you. With that being said, please bear in mind a few things before we get started. I am Master Seventh that reads these energies. As you may have noticed if you're a returning listener, I am changing up the way I am delivering these messages. Okay. But besides that, if you are a newbie to my channel, I look forward to seeing where the wave takes us all. I have tied up a lot of loose ends on my side, so I'm very excited to be able to be in this very moment and to see where it can take off and where it can go. So, lighting is a little weird for me. Whatever. So, a few other things. Okay, in the description box below will be some details for you, whether you're interested to want to know how I changed the game of Reiki, and it being 𝗖𝘀𝗵𝗪, and it's in practice right now, and you want to know more information on how to get an alignment via such. I work remotely wherever you are in the longitude and latitude of this global phenomenon. I can be of assistance should you want to be intrigued to work with me. I am also a reader, as you can tell. So if you would like a reading, feel free to browse the description box for a way to figure out what kind of services I have available. If you do not see something that you are interested in, see if I'm available for it if you would like to. Besides that, in the description box, you will also find various other links. One link is to my sister channel. The content is just as timeless over there as it is here. And yeah, I say that because, Libra, you might feel that this reading provides you universal justice. If Libra is found in your sun rising and or Jupiter position, should it be anywhere else in your chart, you might be in search of emotional redemption, and that's where the sister channel comes in to help you, assist you on that part of the journey. So, feminine and masculine energies are non-gender specific. There's a lot going on in these readings for these intros. There's a lot going on for these intros for these readings. I'm ass backwards. We're always coming around. We're always coming around. And past, present, and future energetical energies can always come forth. Using your discernment is the key to the storytelling time, to see what narratives fit and to let go all the narratives that do not. This is not a personal reading. We did not make a one-to-one, so keep that in mind for the continuum of the reading. Libra. Bit of an existential crisis here. Shit. All right. You're screaming out into the universe to be heard, to be seen, to be validated. There's a huge chapter that has closed and a new chapter that you are not yet ready to begin writing for yourself. You feel lost. At the same time, you've never been more so found in your life than ever before. And coming to terms with that is a big reality check, a big gut check, a big character check when you look at your physical self in the mirror. This reminds me of the beginning stages about I'm hearing like a year and a half ago when I read for Libra, maybe also 2 years ago, where I was really just becoming so enamored by the messages that I was relaying in your readings about how Libra is a Libra, how Libra is the object of the only material object of the astrological signs, and that it in itself has a very fantastic symbolism attached to it. That it's also a scale weighing the odds of the pros and cons, the actual livelihood of the pendulum that always swings. The Scale is like the weight of the infinity that the rest of the zodiac signs can't bring forth. You bring into existence. You don't know how. People don't understand how until they meet you, go through your chapters, and the story of them being in your life ends. And you want the story to continue writing, yet for them the story has ended. And you have a hard time accepting that part, that for them the story has ended and for you it has not. So the existential crisis comes in with, well, what is it that I was supposed to have been written this whole entire time that I want to also end? Like, I want to be satisfied in this is the story, this is my story. Maybe you're still figuring out how to write it. Maybe you didn't really know that there's a story to even be written. Whatever it is, the chapter closed, and the chapter being built, the new one, is something that can answer to all the losses up to this point in life. And that the last loss wasn't a loss, but a prize to get you to take witness and be in full-blown witness to something actually working in your favor without you actually really realizing that it ever did. And learning different lessons while that person's, that thing, that source of where their chapter with you has come to an end. That's the story that more or less almost needs to be read by you, why you were a character within their story, and maybe not the main character. And that is important for you to if it intrigues you to listen to that point, it might be important to administer that feeling and come into terms with what I think you'll discover in reading the parts of the other person's story, even if it's the other person's, even if you're just picking out variables where you read the parts that are about you kind of shit, like, you'll make sense of what is not to be made sense of now. At the same time, whatever this now is, although it's an existential crisis of some kind, I feel like if you were almost honest with yourself, it's not as cunning as you would want to make it seem it is. So let's see what this is all about. Wait, let me figure out where I'm going. Someone needs to meditate more. Alright, let's see if there's any expanding messages from this existential crisis. Besides the tower wanting to come through. Am I keeping it? Nope. Wow, the Tower here again. I'm being told not to take these. Alright. So we're starting off with the Seven of Wands, which speaks to this existential crisis, the ego check, being forced to feel things, being forced to fight for things, figuring out what you are, who you are, what just happened. And you're pretty much all defenses are up without you really having foreseen that your defenses are up. So a lot of you are having like flashbacks to flashbacks. The Ten of Swords here, to a crow in the background is very important here, because it is responsible to deliver all these flashbacks, and it is a powerful experience you just went through. It is to your benefit with the Page of Pentacles. Whoever you think brought in the chaos to force you to become something that you didn't want to become is, by the time you sleep on it and wake up, you've realized that this person has given you a gift. You don't want to see it, you don't want to believe it, but you've been following the white rabbit. Some of you have felt that all eyes are on you. The beach is important in one way or another. Something happened, and what it addressed was a childlike memory, a memory of the past. We have the world here coming through, and the white rabbit is here again. We have the Tree of Life in the center of the pendulum or the pendant that she's holding, as if it's like earth energy, pentacle, something given to you, gifted to you. An innocence coming to an awakening, a sense of security building, because it took you venturing through the unknown to get to this point, and this point is also the unknown to you. How it's beneficial to you is being like Alice in the Wonderland and learning through the lessons still. I was going to say, like, lots of feminine energy here. And then we have the King of Cups, and then the Six of Swords. So, a feminine energy of the connection, the feminine energy, the loudest feminine energy, has left the masculine of the connection, the masculine energy of the connection. The connection of the masculine has been severed deeply, and it took a lot of convincing for the feminine to convince herself that she needed to go on to something else. The magic that took place was air magic here with the Ten of Swords and the Six of Swords, the element of breath, the understanding that there is a narrative of the galaxies and then a narrative of tangibility. And that tangibility is something that you've been strong at in providing for this feminine energy here, as you being the masculine attributes of the masculine King of Cups, no matter what gender you are. Yet what has happened is, I said there was a benefit to you, and you may not feel these benefits because there's a lot of negatives that your mind is convincing you to pay attention to. And at the same time, they're just asking you to kind of rummage through them, re-experience them, that they were experiences. And at the end of that, realize that going through all that memory rehash, you went into it as a king, and you came out of as a king, because that was what made the attraction of the feminine energy towards you solid and worthy and something to hold on to in the first place. Yet the question is, why is at the same time the feminine energy dissatisfied with staying and trusting that you're the one actually off the card here, the one pushing this canoe over to where it needs to go. The feminine energy isn't convinced that you're the one taking them to new explorations. So let's see why. Six of Cups. Because there ultimately was a lesson and not an adventure. The lesson are the possibilities, the things that are in fantasyism, but in tangibility of, this is like a rhyme here, like it's fantasy wanting to reunite with itself, because that's where the imagery of the rabbits are coming through here, and they're playing a game with this being in this card and this symbolism. And there's a bit mockery looking at the imagery, and at the same time there's a lot of vulnerability and sincerity coming through, like a tea party, learning innocence. So I think this is more like a twofold lesson, seeing yourself being humbled, and the next time little kids are around asking you if you want to be part of the tea party, something like that. Like we're being reminded of what child innocence, child view perspective is by taking you back to that time and space. That's the lesson. That was the lesson of this person making you be part of their story, and them being part of your story, is rehashing a memory of the past individually, but not in union, because the memories that both individuals are coming through in sharing, they seem similar, but in actuality they tasted differently, and that left an awkward symbiosis between you and this energy. See if there's anything else coming up from that. We have the Lovers, and then we have the Four of Wands, which is very interesting because it's convincing that it's a beautiful connection, right? What was wrong with this? What is wrong? According to this, nothing's wrong. But is it yours? And if you feel a shift, a loss, a need, a curiosity, wanting to shackle, wanting to keep, wanting to put a leash on, wanting to convince yourself that it requires materialism to exude its worth, I don't think you understand the value of why it's still awkward. The question is, why is it awkward, right? It's weird. Why is it awkward if there's nothing but good cards coming through? Because of the Ten of Swords. The 10 means there was something that already began and already ended. So the meeting within this energy is not always the best possible fruition. Sometimes the only valuable lesson that the ether can give you are tangible things in this material world for you to work through, and then understand how there can be a reality up in the stars that has function and form to it, and then a reality that doesn't meet that set of form and function, which is humanity. Because humanity emotes, humanity feels, humanity is a species, Humanity is one of the only species needing to convince themselves whether they are on a loving path or not. Whether they have what it takes to show up and feel love, to have the opportunity to be in a loving relationship. Human is one of the only species, I think, that kind of like second guesses that about themselves. In a moment that comes in, it's a bit of a flaw by the universe. We have the Two of Swords and Three of Wands. So the Ten of Swords and the Two of Swords are small aspects in this reading that hint at to why it didn't work out. Why it is a Ten of Swords. Why it is an ending and a brutal, forced new beginning. Meshed with actual good things to take into the new chapter. Because you've come through a story and sadness is coming through. Like you've been participatory of a story. You've been writing this story with someone. Yet you couldn't understand how you weren't writing a story together. You convinced yourself that it was a story written together. The Two of Swords hints to the fact that some of the choices were inevitable for you to make anyway, because some of the choices you didn't really had in line to make reasonable choices of, or decisions out of, or from, and then other decisions you had to learn from. Being torn with valuable lessons of how you were raised and how you show up in real time to life and how they contradict each other. Kind of stems out as to why like my belly is aching to like that not feeling in the pit of your stomach kind of feeling, like having unfinished business, having something to say, yet you left it this way. The story ended, and that's the end result. That's the end. And for you to see that kind of take off in the way that it did is a very brutal pain to acknowledge with oneself. Yet, if you're there, then you must also then hear somewhere off in a distance that there's something else. So let's see. We have the Four of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. So movement towards and with emotion, which is something that you love to be part of, where you came from. That individual, what card is that? Fell. Ooh, death card. One second. Death card here. Top of the deck fell. So yeah, the existential crisis, huh? And it's about the ether teaching you a lesson in the only way that you can see this lesson. It's not going to make sense to anyone but you. And if it doesn't make sense, to try to not make it make sense, because then you're stuck behind the Two of Swords energy, conflicted with what it is that you have protected up to this point in life, what you thought you have to give to people, to someone, thinking that it's unconditional, but is it really? Is it really unconditional? And the secrets of the universe are taking you somewhere with this newfound knowing. We have the Six of Coins, the Tower, and the Ten of Swords, Devastation. So the Six of Coins here is generosity. You convinced yourself that you have nothing but generosity, that you gave generosity to this relationship. What stands out to me is that eye on the ground here, and that he's also standing on like a face. And it kind of then makes it seem like there was an ego war because both parties were generous. And if it takes saying that to you, recognizing then that's exactly why the Tarot came in. Because you came unknowingly to a situation with conditions, wanting it to give you unconditional. And that's, according to this deity here, not the way it works for how you were connected to that reality. Something else had to come in and separate the two. Sex kept you two together, made you convinced that you two belong together. Doesn't mean that anyone who resonates with this message and is now like in a relationship with someone and now you're triggered in fear, we're kind of talking to you. But then what is it that you have to close if it wouldn't be letting go of the person? Are there people in your life that you refuse to let go of? To be able to adventure freely with this new or current person? Because the female here feels like she's imprisoned by all these swords. It's not backstab like the other imagery. It's more so, you can't see me through all the shit that's in your way. You can't build a relationship with me. Yet I have the element to give you. I can say things to you. I can only get to you. But there are so many distractions about you, Libra, where you're not getting to this individual. So wherever you are in the how serious the relationship is, or how poignant this union is, it's all above understanding wherever this 7 energy here of the Tower is making itself known to you. I mean, a tiny hint to that is the fact that you're here in the reading in the first place. The 1 or 2 of you. Or 3 million. Who knows? This connection spoke a lot about and speaks a lot about symbolisms in spirit. So, but like spirit doesn't show up in this world. However, everything is of spirit. But Spirit doesn't decide these choices for you. We have the universe and the Ace of Coins, birth. Sleep. Not being able to. Refusing to accept darkness. Being the one to bring you to sleep. Feeling comfortable as you close your eyes. Depriving yourself of sleep. Depriving yourself of food and nutrition. Is how the universe is pushing you to acknowledge how you've been broken and how you can birth out and be powerful by literally also accepting that you're bringing death onto something. These bones here, having to let go completely, full release, as independently as you came into and entered into this reality, is how clear ether needs to make a certain message to you and for you. And there's a lot of codependency issues that come through with Libra energy at times. And this was hopefully a lesson to steer you into fostering a more balanced situationship, or get a refreshing beginning. The choice is ultimately up to you. Or some choices are laid up to you because they were made by others. We have gratitude. I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. And we have pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. This is what I find so beautiful about the messages that come forth, and also how they come forth for you, Libra. Because as I said before, in the beginning, it was fascinating to see how, to come into that acknowledgement, how Libra is the scale. And them being the scale symbolically, it's the only thing that's an object. And to be an object and to be classified as this very important object makes you the king of kings and the queens of queens of all the things that are material. It's like I said earlier with the Aquarius reading, how Aquarius is like the air sign almost and the water sign by being the water bearer. You're in the air sign and also earth energy all at the same time. So you have like fascinating relationship with earth signs or prominent earth element of beings that come across grounded. They're attracted to you for coming across grounded to them, where they think they're like woo and flighty because they have certain anxieties as an earth sign. You remind them of how like it's cool to be like ooh flighty, but also like really grounded. And you gave that impression, and you gave that lasting impression for people or that certain person, and it however doesn't answer to everything. We have courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. And we have self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Yeah, so coming into that acknowledgement, how Libra is the material world, the 360 of tangibility is, and then seeing how ether relays these messages with beautification is pretty much exactly how you view the world. You see the world with beauty and beauty. You can paint it easily with artistic beauty, whether it's with words or word art or color or geometric shapes or hands-on creativity. Like when it comes to making manifest with your hands, you can create, you can work with your hands and do things. Yet have you felt the power to be able to heal with your hands? And that's where I get this sadness coming from the ether, because it's about teaching you what you're capable of on your own, past just the material world, of which you are an expert of. So if this reading, like, at all resonated, like, I think color therapy would benefit you. And let's see what kind of color comes up that you can focus on for the next 3 weeks, to kind of get you to acknowledge that it's not an existential crisis. It's the perspective that you think you're having one. And it's the color orange, change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. And it's the color blue, freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. 2 colors and a lot of colors that aren't really natural to the naked eye. They're more so mirror reflections. In this world, you learn to love yourself wholeheartedly, with everything that it has to give you, with all these images of all the sacred geometry that you are. For one moment to the next, as your aura changes from the way you flow, from the way you glow, from who gets attracted to you, from who you are attracting, like your colors change drastically at all times at any given moment. But there are some things that kind of stay the same, right? And whatever the things that kind of stay the same is your story. And when certain things enter into your story that change the way the color sequence show up, then it's up to you, the story writer, to see which variables to let go of. All right. I'm being told to leave the messages where they are, Libra. It was a pleasure to do your reading. Feel free to check out that description box below if you'd like any of my services, whether it be a remote healing session or a tarot reading. Hit up your girl. All right? Just kidding. All right, wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, and night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space, and may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.